Let's now move on to other things, and also your role as a woman representative in Laikipia. You are formerly an MCA. What would you say you've done for the people of Laikipia so far that you can quote and say, this I am proud of?
One, I give a big salute to Laikipia people, and more so women. Majority of the women who I am offering leadership to are widows, and majority are single mothers. I happen to have a county which in Waruguru, I have one of the biggest slums called Minor Estate. And in Laikipia, in Nanyuki, I have the Majengo and Liki. And I'm proudly been brought up by a single mother. And majority of these women, they believed in me. As a young woman who didn't have parents and I came from nowhere, I didn't have money, I went and told them I have a dream, I have a vision, and I want to bring an agenda which will be transformative as far as our society is concerned. And they believed in me. And I campaigned on on 3 pillars, and of which I want to mention. Any woman rep, we are entitled to 6 million in every financial year, as opposed to members of parliament who get more than actually 100 million in every financial year. In my first 1 year, because I can only account for the financial year, which is between the year 2017 now 2018, I have managed to issue out bursaries worth 5,000 shillings to more than 900 students across Laikipia. And this is something majority of our people had not experienced in the previous regime. That we as women reps, we have an opportunity to educate and to boost education, because education is actually, we categorize it as our backbone in Laikipia to enable children who are vulnerable, particularly the orphaned children, and we have single parents who are extremely needy, or even both parents who do not have the capacity to pay school fees for their children, and we have done that. And number 2, I do give grants to our women, our youth, and persons living with disability. In this case, we have a Uwezo Fund, Youth Fund, and Women Fund, which are loans and borrowings that the government extends to our people at the mashinani. But women rep, I want to make this very clear, because most people say women reps kuna kazi wanafanya, and there's literally nothing.
In fact, there are those who have called for the scrapping of
and some have been calling for the scrapping of the women rep position. Let me tell you, the only money which will come straight from the government direct to mashinani, without a lot of restrictions and without a lot of troubles, is Affirmative Action Fund. I am able to give my women donations of grants worth 100,000, 200,000, 300,000, up to 500,000, depending with the kind of proposals they'll bring to my office. I have partnered with the president to plant over 1,000 trees, over 3,000 trees in Laikipia. I have managed to buy goats and mbuzi, and in this case, not just the usual mutikai mbuzi. No, it's a mbuzi which will give birth 3 times in a year, 2 times a year, and to give you triplets. And they do this, hybrids, and they will do this because we want to enable our young people, particularly those who are jobless, to be in a position to employ themselves. I'm able to buy them car wash machines. I get umbrellas and business capital for people who do not have what it takes to start their business. In short, I'm saying this. Affirmative action is as little as 6 million per every constituency. In Laikipia, I have 3 constituencies. I've been able to change the narrative of persons living with disability, that you cannot get funds because you do not have security. You do not need security to come to the office of the women rep. Okay. What you require is a good proposal and business plan, which would prove that the kind of money we'll give you as a grant will mean a change.
That is what Kate has done. But what are you putting in place? Because I'm trying to manage time here. What have you put in place in terms of systems, so that it's not just about Kate Waruguru, but it's the office that does that, such that even if you're not in office, those plans and systems that you've put in place will take care of the people of Laikipia?
Look, it's so clear in the Affirmative Action Fund regulation. Women reps, they take care. First of all, they are members of parliament like any other member of parliament. I sit in the same parliament and same committees that the other members of parliament sit. So I'm able to legislate, make laws, do oversight, and participate in the budget-making process. But in this case, matters affirmative, matters to do with women, matters to do with elderly persons, matters to do with children, matters to do with persons living with disability, is my constituency and my core business. It is my area of interest. Now, what you have done is to see that our persons, our young people, can get an access, one, to be trained and be trained and coached to understand the kind of funding and facilities the government have in favor to the young persons, so that if you have an LPO today and you do not have money, and our banks, because of bank capping rates and all these manner of things, you can be able to clearly told in my office, you only need to walk to youth fund and we can fund your LPO.
So the
up to
systems are in
2
place
million.
such that if you are not seated on that seat, the system
The
will
same
still
way
work and the
we
people
will
of Laikipia
continue.
will be
We
taken
are
care of.
we are setting the bar, and it's so high in Laikipia. We want people to understand that you have a take, and the money which is in our office, that is GAF, it is for all of you, whether old or young.
I know you're also very passionate about the boy child. Do you feel
right.
that the boy child possibly has been left out of this discussion? There's a lot talked about the girl child, and even now we're talking about the position of woman rep, which is really just to give gender parity. But do you feel like the boy child is somehow being disadvantaged over time?
Yeah, I must say yes, and particularly coming from Mount Kenya region, our boys are not doing very well, but I don't want to say that we are seated doing nothing. And as a legislator, I think we need to take this conversation further, beyond Parliament, because Parliament will only talk about affirmative action. And as you look at the Constitution today, affirmative action does not clearly capture our boys as one of the disadvantaged cohorts. And in this case, I think we need to pull this conversation starting from our homes and from our families to the churches and to the society, and we need by starting what we call mentee classes and mentorship, starting from our homes, our clowns and our churches. By this I mean, look at practical example. Any Sunday school in my church, at any time they're coming to present a poem or any chorus, you'll already realize it is our girls who always lead. They are the soloists. They are the people who will be cheered up any other minute. And our boys, they always take the backstage. And the society does not feel like that one is not okay. They always feel like, you know, it's always good for a man to feel strong and your word comes last. So in this minute, I want to come up with a very vigorous campaign to defend the place of our boys. And particularly in this era where majority of our Kenyan women are singles, this is everything okay to get somebody to mentor your boy, to get somebody to talk and speak over your son, whether is it being your father or people in the family or even the clergy. It is important. And then moving forward, you know, like we will be distributing sanitary towels in Laikipia, and that has happened across the country. And you'll always realize we get time and spend time with our girls, telling them, if you engage with sexual activities, you're going to conceive and this will lead to school dropout. But our boys, nobody really bothers, because boys will not get pregnant. And in case they mess and everything happens around their life, they will continue with their school learning processes. So in this case, we need to realize that our girls who are so empowered in our society will lack even people to marry them, will lack people who can add up to anything in the society. So boy child, it must be the business not only of the Parliament and the legislative arm, but the executive arm, the society by itself. We need to nurture our sons, because these are the ones who make the wazes. They are the people who make our husbands.
They'll be the husbands for tomorrow.
Yes.
Okay, and as we wind up because of time, obviously you have a very busy schedule now as Member of Parliament, yet you have to balance between work and family. How do you manage to do that? Because they're both important, I believe, to you, from the way you speak passionately about it.
Yeah. You see, I'm glad my good friend Kebi Gutura, Senator, the immediate senator from Murang'a, was here. And there's something he always mentioned to us as young legislators, that your family comes number one. Because when all is gone and this parliamentary thing is over and any position you're holding in government is over, you're only left with your husband and your children and your family. And in this case, to me, I have always felt I do not need to give away everything I own. In terms of my precious time, there must be time for me to be with my children and to be with my family. And number two, I have only one big role to do for the people of Laikipia. It is to deliver the promises I made to them. It is to make them feel they have a representative, and not only a representative, a well-able woman to represent them in the National Assembly and to advance the agenda of the people of Laikipia. So these two things must come hand in hand. And that's why we are called women. We multitask. We will do 2-3 things at the same time.
So how do you manage your time?
Now,
because both of them are very demanding.
I have to come out very clear and know that my Mondays belong to the people of Laikipia. I have to be in the constituency. And every 2 weeks in a month, I have to travel back to the village and spend time with my people from Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And let me tell you, 3 days in a weekend is quite a lot of time. I have 15 wards. I only require to be in any given ward at any given weekend. and 3 days are enough for me to transverse and attend a few issues in regards to the constituency. So I want to say it's not too difficult, and any young woman who feels like they would like to venture into politics or any other task which is so demanding like politics, they should move on and they should do it. Because if you don't dare, then who's going to do this? Who break these barriers that women, if you have your young mother, you cannot afford to manage your family and take care of your children and also move on. Then the other narrative which comes out there is that majority of women politicians don't take care of their husbands and they don't look after their children. I think that's not correct, and I would call that it's a myth. We do take care of our husbands and we take care of our children. Reason being, there's no way you'd wake up and be able to perform, like as a legislator, with a clear flow of mind, like the cancer bill that I'm working on, if you don't have people who are supporting you and people at the end of the day who know they love you. You know our society. Kenyans, they love you today, tomorrow they hate you. Today they are supporting you, tomorrow they are fighting you. The same mouth which was singing for you is the same mouth which will shout at you and curse you. So our families are our pillars. My family is my pillar, and they're my friends, my best friends.
All right, last word and a word of advice to the youth out there. I know you're also passionate about the youth. Yeah. What word do you have for you, the youth, as your last word, Kate?
I just want to tell young people that there is a future for young persons in this country. And I just want to encourage you, please, we can form as small groups as 10. 10 of you can come together, walk to the office of your women rep and come with a clear business plan and a proposal in regards to what you want to do. County governments are doing the same, and the national government is also very clear about what they want to do for Kenyan youths. Look, drugs, frustrations, and ending up doing a lot of damage to yourself will not help you. You first need to believe in yourself before the government believes in you. You've got to believe in yourself even before your employer believes in you. Self-confidence, high esteem, and thinking forward. Walk into the future. Don't walk into what you are today and what situations in your life are dictating you to become. This is the only thing which will make us a better and a brighter future. I look forward to majority of us young Kenyans coming up with as many young governors in this country, many young senators and legislators like it is in the 12th Parliament, so that we can drive the youth agenda. Watch the 12th Parliament. We are vibrant, we are young, and we are ready to see that our young people will not have to go through the usual long processes and queues to get a job, to get capital to start businesses, and to be who you desire to be in the future.
Thank you very much, Kate Waruguru, for joining us this morning. Fantastic having you as person of interest. And well, it brings us to 8 o'clock right here on Morning Express. We are going to take a short break, but do stay with us. The show continues. We still have Tech Central lined up for you. And well, do stay with us.